Hi, this is Kylie Koo. Welcome to my studio. So today I'm working on Mini Missions, which is a mini-series by Crystal Dragonfly. Now last week I gave it the wrong name in my video, so sorry about that. I think I had brain fog with this cold that I've had. So anyway, the theme this week is shapes, and I am just starting by putting down a layer of gesso just to strengthen the pages as much as anything. Now Crystal used circles for hers, and I've decided that I'm going to do squares. So I've pulled out some paper, some jelly prints and other pieces of papers, and all I'm going to do is to cut some squares. Some are rectangles, but I decided a bit of artistic license in that respect. Now this one I thought was interesting because it actually had the circles punched out, but in the end I decided not to use it. So all I'm doing here is looking at how I'm going to lay my pieces of paper on just in a way that makes them hopefully interesting. And I like that little piece with the circles actually on it. And I'm going to glue these down, but first off I decide that the background needs a bit of colour. So I move these off to the side and paint over the two pages. And I think this is a really lovely colour. So it's quite fun working in a little journal this size and doing these mini missions. I think Crystal's full title is Mini Missions of Happiness, which is lovely. So I'm now taking an old piece of recycled, I think it was a food carton of some description. I've used it before, and just taking some dark blue paint, I think it was dark midnight, running it over. I thought these looked like squares as well. They're a bit rounded at the ends, but again, that's artistic license. And all I'm going to do is use that as a stamp. And I really like the way that that's turned out, and the two colours go very well together. So just putting them in different directions, horizontally, vertically, just to get a bit of interest. So I gave that a quick dry, and now I'm looking to start to glue down my squares. Now at this point I do realise that I'm actually going to cover up a lot of the stamping, but you know, that's sometimes the way with mixed media. It's about having some bits of the layer showing through, not necessarily at all. And I like that these squares have all different patterns on them. And I'm basically just coating the entire page there with the glue, rather than doing each bit individually. So, this is an interesting contraption. It's by Tim Holtz. I'm not entirely certain what it's called, but you use it with pens. I use Sharpies with it, and it was actually a friend in Florida that sent it to me, and I had sent her some stuff as well, so we did a kind of swap thing. So When I first got it, I wasn't entirely certain what it was and what to do with it, but I soon found out. And she also sent me that little piece of matting as well. I think it's maybe something you use in cabinets to stop, I guess, plates and glasses slipping. I'm sure we can probably get it here, but I haven't seen it exactly like that. And I've used it, lots and lots of times. So basically all you do is put the pen into that, squeeze, and the air forces the ink, the pigment, out of the pen. And it just, I think it creates a great effect. So what I'd done was to pick 3 colours that I thought were quite similar to the colours of the circle in that piece of patterned paper. So just swapping to the next pen. As I say, it's a great machine. It is quite tiring on the hands and the wrists though, so you'll see me constantly swapping hands with it. And then just going on to the third colour. And at this stage I'm really pleased with the way that that's starting to shape up. So I take my Stabilo all and I start to go round the pieces of paper. I just want to give a bit of an edge to them so that they'll stand out a little bit more. And then I go over them with some water. Now, I could have just left it as is, but it just loosens the line up a little bit. So now taking another piece of recycled packaging, again this has got kind of squares on the bottom. It was quite a flimsy piece of plastic and the first time I'd used it, so I had no idea how it was going to turn out. And you'll see I just do a little test piece there to get an idea. So it's not quite coming out of squares, but there's squares on it, so again, artistic license, I'm taking it as being fine to use. And again, I really like the effect that that's giving, and the white just helps to make things pop and brings a bit of balance, I think, to the page. But I decide that in fact I want to go right round the pieces of paper with the Stabilo. I just want them to stand out a bit more. And I also want to bring a bit of that particular print to the front again. Not too much, but just a little bit here and there. Now this is a piece of what's called plastic canvas. I think it's for embroidery, I'm never very certain. But all I'm going to do is to put some bronze paint over it, and again hoping to get the the effect of the squares, and I'm just going over it with the brayer. And again, I think gold goes nicely with these other colours. I do just a little bit more off camera. And now for my statement, quote, sentiment, and I'm going with square the circle. I used to hear people say, oh, you got to square the circle, and I never really knew what they meant, so I looked it up and it was really quite interesting. But the reason I used it was because Crystal had used circles and I'm using squares, and I thought square the circle was quite apt. So I hope you'll check out Crystal's video, and I'll leave a link to hers below. And as always, I thank you for watching, and I do hope that you've enjoyed this, and I do hope that you'll join me again for my next video. I've got a number of comments to reply to. I've been unwell and just not getting through as much as I'd like, but I will be doing that very soon. So as always, I do appreciate your support, and I thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.